1980 Super Bowl winners. On January 20th, 1980, Pittsburgh Steelers were the first team to win 4 Super Bowls at the Rose Bowl Arena. 103,985 spectators were in the arena. The Pittsburgh Steelers defeated the Rams 31-19. Pac-Man is released 1980, May 22nd. Pac-Man, styled as Pac-Man, is an arcade game developed by Nemo and first released in Japan in May 1980. It was created by Japanese video game designer Toru Wanati. 1981. John Hinckley Jr. attempts to kill President Ronald Reagan. On March 30th, 1981, President Ronald Reagan and 3 others were shot and wounded by John Hinckley Jr. in Washington, D.C. as they were leaving a speaking engagement at the Washington Hotel. Space Shuttle in Columbine is launched 1981, April 12th. The Space Shuttle was an orbit vehicle. Designation OV/102 was the first space-rated orbit in NASA's Space Shuttle fleet.
E.T. came out on June 11, 1982. E.T. is a drama and fantasy movie. After a gentle alien becomes stranded on Earth, the alien is discovered and befriended by a young boy named Elliot. Elliot introduces E.T. as the alien is dubbed to his brother and sister. The children decide to keep its existence a secret until soon E.T. became ill, resulting in government intervention and a dire situation for both Elliot and E.T. Argentina invades the Falkland Islands, 1982. On April 2, 1982, Argentine forces launched the invasion of the Falkland Islands, beginning the Falkland War. The Argentines mounted amphibious landings, and the invasion ended with the surrender of Government House.
1984 Poison gas leak in India. The Bohemian disaster, also referred to as Bohemian gas tragedy, was a gas leak incidentally on the night of the 2nd and the 3rd of December 19th, 84. At least 3,781 deaths overall. 116,000 were claimed to die. Non-fatal injuries, 558,125. Super Bowl winners. January 22nd, 1984. Super Bowl 17 was an American football game between National Football Conference champions Washington Redskins and a football team conference championships Raiders Los Angeles. The score was 38-29. Back to the Future, July 3rd, 1985, starring Michael J. Fox in the movie Back to the Future. It's about a sci-fi classic small-town California teen, Marty McFarland. Michael J. Fox is thrown back to the 80s. Steve Jobs leaves Apple Computers, 1985, May 24. Steve Jobs was a business and entrepreneur who designed and introduced the Apple computer. Steve Jobs led Apple Computers to grow into a $1 billion company that lost his power in 1985 at the Apple and formed Next Computer.
Aliens came out on July 18, 1986. Aliens is a fantasy and science fiction movie. After floating in space for 57 years, L.T. Ripley's shuttle is found by a deep space salvage team. Upon arriving at LV-426, the Marines find only one survivor, a 9-year-old girl named Newt. But even these battle-hardened Marines with all the latest weaponry are no match for the hundreds of aliens that have invaded the colony. USSR launches Mir space station, February 20th. Mir was a space station that operated in low Earth orbit from 1986 to 2001, operated by the Soviet Union and later by Russia. Mir was the first modular space station and was assembled in orbit from 1986 to 1996. Bad is the seventh studio album by American singer and songwriter Michael Jackson, released on August 31st, 1987. Bad won Grammy Award for Best English Engineer Album. Bad is the ninth best-selling album in the UK. U.S. and Canada signed free trade agreement October 4th. On October 4th, 1987, both countries agreed to the Canada-United States Free Trade Bad is the seventh studio album by American singer and songwriter Michael Jackson, released on August 31st, 1987. Bad won Grammy Award for Best English Engineer Album. Bad is the ninth best-selling album in the UK. U.S. and Canada signed free trade agreement. On October 4th, 1987, both countries agreed to the Canada-United States Free Trade Agreement. The two nations agreed to a historic agreement that placed Canada and the United States at the forefront of trade liberalization. Beetlejuice came out on March 30th, 1988. Beetlejuice is a fantasy and horror movie. After Barbara and Adam Maitland die in a car accident, they find themselves stuck haunting their country residence, unable to leave the house. George Bush elected Beetlejuice came out on March 30th, 1988. Beetlejuice is a fantasy and horror movie. After Barbara and Adam Maitland die in a car accident, they find themselves stuck haunting their country residence, unable to leave the house. George Bush elected President of the United States, 1988. George Herbert Walker Bush is an American politician who served as the 41st President of the United States from 1989 to 1993. Prior to assuming the presidency, Bush served as the 43rd Vice President of the United States from 1981 to 1989.